You ever notice how some folks treat community like it's their own personal army, marching around, laying claim to every trail, every view, every stretch of water they never owned? Let me tell you, I came out here to Montana thinking peace and quiet was as simple as buying 12 acres and an old cabin by the lake. Turns out, peace has to be defended, sometimes with a smile, sometimes with a stack of legal documents taller than a fence post, and every so often with a stubborn streak that'll get you labeled the villain by half the valley. I bought the property that spring, snow still lurking in the shady patches, lake still half frozen, trees shivering in the wind. Place smelled like pine sap, old stone, and hope. All I wanted was a spot to breathe after years wrangling facts and fistfights as a county investigator. My first week, I did nothing but listen. Wind in the pines, lake lapping at the shore, quiet so thick you could spread it on toast. Then came the footsteps, crunching down a dirt trail, cutting through my woods like an old scar. Friendly? Maybe. Invited? Not by a long shot. The realtor called that path rustic character. I called it a liability. Records showed the last owner had shut it down proper in the 90s, swapped away any public right-of-way for a tax break, put the responsibility for maintenance and risk squarely on whoever owned the land, which was now me. So I put up signs, neat and clear, private property. No trespassing. I wasn't looking for drama. But by the end of the week, someone had yanked down a sign, flipped another, and left a soda can at the trailhead. Message received. When I put up a gate, heavy steel, reinforced hinges, a lock that could outlast the winter, trouble found me right away. I was picking up fence brackets at the hardware store when she blocked me in, arms folded, eyes sharp as barbed wire. "You're the one who closed the trail?" she said, not really asking. I told her the truth, plain and simple. It's on my land, never was public. She didn't like that. Said her name was Karen Defoe, lived up the hill, acted like her family had been walking that trail since Lewis and Clark. "You should open that gate before this turns into a problem," she warned. I smiled, small and tight, the way you do when you know the argument's just starting. Next morning, I found the gate open, lock missing, chain dropped like a dead snake. On my camera, Karen, wide-brimmed hat, crowbar in hand, moving like she owned the place. I called my attorney, Elise, sharp as a tack, calm as cold water. She said I had everything: trespass, vandalism, maybe theft. "You want public, private, or tactical?" she asked. "Tactical," I said. "Let's put up a wall of paper she can't climb." We filed for a restraining order, swapped in a new lock, twice as strong, and slapped up more cameras, more signs, a little legal warning laminated for good measure. Next thing I know, Karen's driving by slow, taking pictures, then leaving a letter in my mailbox. "Your actions are hostile. Expect community involvement." Community involvement sounded like a threat wrapped in a potluck invitation. I started checking the gate with my morning coffee. Found a rock on the lock housing one day, just so. A message, not from the wind. I knew she'd come back. She always did. This time I was ready. Sheriff's deputies staked out the trail while I watched from my cabin's loft. Karen arrived with two friends, loud and theatrical, waving off the court order I'd posted like it was a bad Yelp review. Then bolt cutters. She snapped the lock, walked in like she was leading the Lewis and Clark expedition, friends in tow. 4 minutes later, deputies stepped out, calm, professional, holding the order. "Ma'am, you're in violation of a court-issued protective order." Karen sputtered, tried to argue the law, said the trail had been public for 40 years. They didn't care. I stepped out with my phone, showed them footage. Her guests just stared, confused, embarrassed, probably wondering if brunch was still on. When the cuffs came out, Karen broke, sobs and shouts about spiritual rights, and "You can't arrest me for walking." But they did. By sunset, a grainy video was already viral on local Facebook. Karen hauled to the cruiser, still yelling about the injustice of it all. Some folks cheered, others called me a tyrant. And just like that, the battle lines were drawn, not on the land, but online at the coffee shop at the mailbox. Karen was released after a night in county lockup, then fired off a civil suit. Wrongful arrest, illegal trail closure, humiliation, and my favorite, malicious entrapment. My attorney just shook her head. They're going for the headlines, not the facts. From there, escalated. Strangers appeared at my gate. Surveyors with rental tags, hikers with maps older than me, teenagers taking selfies. Letters slipped into my mailbox. You don't own nature. You can't lock us out forever. Elise warned me. If enough folks claimed historic use, they might try for a prescriptive easement. So I brought in real surveyors, got GPS data, notarized maps, even a retired Forest Service geographer's affidavit. The trail, every inch, was mine, on paper, in fact, and in law. But facts didn't stop the nonsense. One night, someone threw a rock through my window. No note, just a message in glass. I replaced it with security glass and doubled up the motion sensors. Deputies called it intimidation, not just nuisance now. Karen's lawyers pushed for mediation. Elise refused. They want headlines. We want justice. Court dates set, 30 days out. Day of the trial, courthouse packed. Supporters on both sides. Judge already tired of the drama before we started. Karen's lawyer painted her as a local hero, defender of heritage. Elise calmly laid out every document, photo, map, and the footage of Karen cutting the lock after reading the court order out loud. Karen took the stand, cried, claimed confusion, said she thought it was a prank. Judge wasn't buying it. When it was my turn, I told the story straight. How I just wanted peace, tried to handle it civil, ended up fighting a war I never wanted. Then Elise dropped the final bombshell, a sworn statement from the Forest Service geographer. No trail, no public easement, ever. Judge recessed, came back with a ruling like thunder. All Karen's claims dismissed, formal cease and desist, damages to be decided at a separate hearing. Her supporters slunk out. Elise whispered, "That's checkmate." I wish that was the end. It wasn't. Karen went scorched earth, literally. Week before the damages hearing, someone set fire to my fence. Rain kept it from spreading, but the message was clear. Deputies found gasoline traces, tire tracks. Timing was no coincidence. Judge included arson in the damages. At the hearing, Karen showed up in a neck brace, claimed emotional trauma. Elise presented the bills. New fence, legal fees, surveyors, punitive damages. Judge didn't blink. $45,700 in total. Even after that, Karen couldn't let go. She violated the restraining order, got caught on trail, came muttering about crimes against nature, got arrested again. DA started digging, matched gas in her car to the fire, phoned GPS at my fence at 2:34 a.m., chat logs talking about maybe the fire will cleanse the land. This time, it was felony arson. Her lawyer quit, HOA cut ties, her friends disappeared. Final trial, courtroom full of reporters. HOA members try to disappear into their seats. Charges read: arson, property destruction, fraud, defamation, harassment, trespass. Elise testified to the pattern of abuse. HOA's new treasurer revealed Karen had been funneling money through fake invoices to her cousin. Jury needed less than 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Judge didn't hold back. 10 years, no parole for 6. When it was over, I stood by my new fence, steel posts, motion lights, and no trespassing, not even a little, watching Boone, my old dog, sniff around the fire pit where the trail marker used to be. Folks in the valley started sending pies, notes, even apologies. Turns out, the real neighbors were waiting for justice, too. Funny thing is, I didn't feel triumphant, just settled. Sometimes the battle for peace is ugly. Sometimes you win, but what you win is the right to breathe, to sit on your own porch, watch the wind in the trees, and know the line you drew is finally, truly yours. I learned something the hard way. Boundaries aren't just lines on a map. They're the sum of every choice, every confrontation, every stand you take against folks who think rules don't apply to them. The law can't make people kind, but it can sure make them accountable. So, now I'm asking you, where do you draw your line? Have you ever had to defend it, even when everyone around you said you were wrong? Drop your story, your thoughts, down in the comments, because I know I'm not the only one who's had to fight for a little piece of peace.